Welcome to Unit 5 of Introduction to Apologetics. This week we are jumping into part 2 of your textbook, reminding ourselves of the illustration of the house that we are building over the course of this semester. We have laid the foundation of the house in looking at the biblical and historical precedent and tradition of Christian apologetics. And what we are doing now in part 2 of the textbook is we are building the walls, the drywall, the roofing, and the exterior design of the house. What we are making is a theological structure for doing apologetics in our current cultural context. The first chapter that we will be reading in part 2 is going to be looking at different apologetic methodologies. I bet that this will probably be something fairly new for a lot of you, especially since you're taking Introduction to Apologetics. There's a good chance you haven't studied apologetic methodologies before. I believe is going to be very, very enlightening for you, that you are going to grow exponentially this week as you learn about the different ways that theologians and philosophers have approached doing apologetics throughout the centuries and even today. You'll be learning about classical apologetics, evidential apologetics, what is called reformed or presuppositional apologetics, and also experiential apologetics. We're going to be looking at all of these different methods and the respective strengths and weaknesses of each method and how we can potentially integrate them into doing apologetics today. Your assignments for this week are going to be reading chapter 5 and taking your quiz based off of the reading of chapter 5, and then you will have a discussion board assignment, which will be focused on some application and deeper thinking about apologetic methodology. This chapter is so important because learning about apologetic methodology is not something that we do so that we can master just one method. It's something that we do so we can have a toolbox of different options to choose from whenever we are engaging with different cultures, contexts, and individuals. Your methodology, as you'll be learning this chapter, should be determined by your context. All of us, based on our different personalities, strengths, and backgrounds, are going to feel more drawn to one or the other, or maybe feel slightly more competent in one or the other, and that's fine. But what we should aim to do is to be someone who can pull from any tool out of the toolbox, or pull multiple tools out of the toolbox, use them together based upon the person that we're talking to or the topic, objection, or culture that we are speaking into. One of my favorite philosophers and apologists, Francis Schaeffer, puts it very well in this chapter. He says, "If we are truly personal, as created by God, then each individual will differ from everyone else. Therefore, each man must be dealt with as an individual, not as a case or statistic or machine. There is no set formula that meets everyone's needs. And if only applied as a mechanical formula, I doubt if it will really meet anyone's need, short of an act of God's mercy." What I hope for you guys this week is that you do discover which apologetic methodology really resonates with you, because I think that will be a good starting point for you to grow deeper in apologetics, in the different methodologies, the strengths and weaknesses of each one, and then being able to apply them in a winsome and persuasive way in whatever ministry context you're serving in, and to really be able to begin to be someone who can integrate them based off of the individual that you're speaking to, like Schaeffer talked about here in this quote. I'm excited for you this week. Let's jump in.